G'day, Michael here. This is the second video for my new channel, YOS. I suppose I better explain YOS, what that stands for. That's a kind of a hacky acronym for Why Open Source. Now, I had a comment in my last video, or my first video, whichever way you look at it, to try OpenBSD. Well, that triggered a bit of a thought process, and I thought, well, how about I try a whole heap of operating systems. Now, what am I trying them for? I thought, well, maybe I'll do a Noob test. And my intention is to, with the systems that I'm very familiar with, which is all the Debian-based Linux distros I'm pretty familiar with, so I'll do my best to faithfully pretend to be a noob. And you'll be able to see that in the videos. And for the things that I am a noob, you'll see me being a noob. And so I thought, well, the best way to test those things is how long does it take for me to find my way through it. Now, installing FreeBSD is a bit more sort of procedural, and you have to find your way through it a bit more, versus some of the handheld processes that you have with the Linux distros. So you'll be able to see those sorts of differences, and makes it a little bit complicated for me to do a fair fight between, say, FreeBSD and, I don't know, Peppermint. But I'll do my best to kind of give a faithful representation of what a noob would have to go through. Right, so obviously install time would be one thing. Getting to a point of having a graphical user interface is obviously, for a noob and for a general user of a PC, you want a graphical user interface versus setting up like a server. So if you have a server application, this is not really a test for that kind of application. It's more like someone's is used to Windows and they want to try open source. Where are they going to find themselves if they try these other systems? Right. And things that annoy a user are, how long does it take to start up and shut down, all that sort of stuff. So I'll be obviously testing a reboot just to see those sorts of times. I mean, it's pretty trivial, but in any case, it's in this list. Using an internet browser, which will probably be Firefox in all these systems, don't know. Some sort of email program. Now, obviously, for me or most people in some sort of office environment, you'd want to connect to a Windows server or as an SMB client, basically to share your files around. I mean, in the Unix world, we can use NFS, but I'm not sure all of these systems can use that. Maybe Haiku can't use NFS. Don't know. Some sort of Office package, which I'm expecting to be LibreOffice, but that may not be available and everything. Now, here are some ones that were interesting to me. I use OpenSCAD for my 3D printing and so forth, and I use QCAD as a 2D CAD program. Also Inkscape, which is like a vector editor, again 2D, but it's like for graphic artists. And I'm going to try video editing on all these systems, see how that goes. GIMP, which is like a Photoshop equivalent, and also I thought I'd throw in something like slicing for 3D printing. Now, Slick 3R, Prusa Slicer, Cura, whatever's available on that system. And I'll have some sort of, haven't quite worked my way through this one, but some sort of subjective grading for documentation. Say FreeBSD is a bit more work to install, but the documentation is excellent. So I need something to give some, that having installed FreeBSD alerted me to the point that that's not necessarily a fair fight if I don't include how easy it is to get information. So that's my thinking there, because with FreeBSD these two are linked together. I suspect OpenBSD will be the same, and if you suggest some other operating system, that may also be the case with that. So if something's difficult by itself but there's really good help available, then it ain't so difficult. So I want to get that sort of fair comparison in things. Whereas you might be handheld for, it might be easy to install, but then you can't do anything else, or you can't diagnose a problem, or you can't understand how the system works internally if you've got something to solve. So if documentation can cover for difficulty. It's a bit like if a car's well made, you don't need the service so much, but if the car's not so well made but the service is excellent, then it's still a good car, kind of, you know. That's how they can play. So either way, trying to envelop the usability for a new user as best I can. If you can think of another like issue, category, or a different software package you'd like me to try, please leave that in the comments below. And if you can think of another operating system, do the same thing. Leave that in the comments below. I think that's pretty much it for this. Oh no, I might just describe. Now you see Peppermint Debian and Peppermint Debian. Now, the BSDs use init to boot. Most of the Linux distros these days use systemd. Both have their attributes. Systemd is chosen on the Linux distros for a very good reason, and people like init for a very good reason. Now Peppermint spans both those things. Devuan, or Devuan, or whatever however you want to pronounce it, that's a Debian system, but built around an init boot system, versus Peppermint Debian, which is built around systemd. So I'll be able to compare otherwise similar system of systemd versus init. So you can see that actually was a fairly pure comparison by those two. I thought that'd be nice to throw into. I don't know, React OS I believe is a Linux distro that tries to replace Windows for people. So that'll be interesting to see how that goes. Haiku is a BIOS, well, it's a further development of BIOS. I'm quite curious to see how that plays. Yeah, so let me know if there's something else you want to add to this list, both in operating systems or the test type, or any other suggestion you might have with this sort of video outlook, because I want to try and make a reasonably good set of videos that, like, they're worth watching by including things that people want to see. And if you've got something that you think I'm missing here, or just jump on the comments, let me know. Well, I guess that's it for this video. Feel free to like, share, subscribe, ask a question. Bye for now.